Hi, it's Brad Wilson from Cruising Solutions. I'm here aboard a 2007 Beneteau 423, and we'd just like to show you how easy it is to install the Snowbird cabin heater. The first thing you want to do in any project, this one in particular, is to plan out your job, where everything's going to go, where you're going to get your electricity from to run it, where you will get your coolant, the engine coolant, which is going to provide the heat. So in this case, on the Beneteau, the hot water tank sits right under here. And what we'll be doing is drawing coolant before it goes into the hot water tank to have it go through the Snowbird heater coil in series. So the water will still go to all the coolant rather will still come from the engine, but instead of going directly into the water tank, it'll go through the heater coil first and then on into the hot water tank. That'll give you hot air as soon as it is possible to get it to you, and still provide lots of hot water coolant to heat up your water. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll install
as long as we have a good seal,
the grill
this thing's
front
gonna be
right here underneath this plywood for the settee. I've raised the settee up just enough so I can get a jigsaw in there to follow the lines. For a power source, we're going to use the water system so that we'll be riding on the same breaker. This normally runs at 2, 3, or 4 amps of power, so the breaker will handle it easily for the water pump. So that's going to be the same power source. One of the advantages to doing it this way, the inside, if you can look around here, the inside of the fan motor will overlap the water pump. But whenever you have to change the water pump, it's just a matter of undoing 4 screws on the face and tipping the whole thing forward. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and do our cut. Our hole cut, and just do a little dry fit. Make sure that fits in place. And if you want to take a look inside, still have access to your water meter and the water pump. We're going to take our power off here, but before we do that, we're going to disconnect the hot water line from here. This is the hot coolant before it goes into the hot water tank, and we'll splice in a small, probably 1 foot, 5/8 inch heater hose, and then take it from here back into the hot water tank. So the two of them are hooked up in series. Okay? So now we'll just go ahead and disconnect that water line and splice into the bottom here. Okay, we've connected the heater hose lines so that instead of going into the heater, it comes from the engine into the Snowbird cabin heater, then goes out of here and into the water heater. I've left enough hose so that we can still access the water pump. If it needs changing, we just undo the Snowbird cabin heater, tip it forward on the floor, change the water pump, and then put it back in. What we're going to do now is tap in the wiring to the water pump wiring. Okay, mounted our switch down here so you can reach it without having to sit down at the table. I didn't put the directions on because it's out of sight anyway, so you won't be able to see off, low, medium, high. Inside we've run the wiring from there across and tied it into the existing junction box for the water system. We'll put a couple of zip ties on just to tie everything down, and we'll just flip the switch and see how we're doing. Low, medium, and high. Okay, now we'll get Al to start the engine, and we'll check for water leaks just to make sure we're watertight as well. So now we've got the wiring all connected. We've got the plumbing all connected. And of course the fan is there. We have the grill for the discharge of hot air. And we also have to have somewhere for fresh air to come in. And that's where this second grill comes into play. This is going to contribute to good air circulation and also make sure that you're not drawing fumes out of the bilge, which is also important. These are just taped in place now so I can get the screw holes mounted properly. We have started the engine and checked all of our hose connections to make sure that there's no coolant leak, and they all check out okay. And then the last thing we did was put on a few zip ties just to tidy up the whole installation and vacuum the floor. So that's it. That's all there is to installing the Snowbird cabin heater. Now all you have to do is, whenever you're running the engine, just enjoy a nice warm cabin. Thanks very much.